This is overtime here on OSN. It is Lever Sage, Tanner Ryle with you after the Ottawa Senators take care of the Toronto Maple Leafs by the score of
5-2.
Oh, 5-2. Yes, Tanner Ryle and myself at the game. And I feel like we've done a good job at getting out. Ridley Gregg scored to make it 5-2, and we are out of there. And we've got home, I think, just in time here to break things down. Another really impressive game here for the Ottawa Senators. I know their opponent wasn't great, but I'm not even sure 5-2 reflects how dominant the Ottawa Senators were tonight.
Agreed. I think a little bit shaky into the first period, but as soon as they got control in this game, they really didn't let up. There were some moments where you thought, oh, maybe, but I don't think at any point I thought the Leafs were going to come back to win this one.
Yeah, I would agree. The first 10 minutes were, as bad as I've seen them in a while.
Yeah, the puck control especially, and just some of the turnovers, not great.
Sloppy. And they got away with it. I think at one point the Toronto Maple Leafs were out shooting Ottawa 6-3, 11 or 12 minutes into the game.
Right.
The shots on goal in this one, 43-14 for the Ottawa Senators.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's above expected in all your courses. Incredible, actually. 57 shots in the game, and Ottawa had 43 of them. And we were there, probably 50% Leaf fans, I would say.
I think
40 to 50%, somewhere in there.
Say 45.
Okay. And have to be really impressed with the way that the Senator fans handled themselves, because the Leaf fans never got going tonight in the building. Never.
No, you did hear at times, I think when the Leafs had the puck, a let's go Leafs, go Leafs go would start up, but they'd get maybe 2 rounds in and then it would be overtaken by the Go Sens Go fairly quickly.
Drowned out by the Senator fans. Full building tonight. Now, the first time the Leafs are here all year long on a Saturday night, I think you'd expect that.
Right.
But some good energy.
And also, I think shout out to a couple sections over that started chanting, "Where's Marner?" I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Vegas fans also chanting that as they play good teams.
Very true.
In the last 3 months. Just a little dig at Mitchell. But this was a game in which Ottawa dominated 3-0. They're up. Now, at 3-2, you're kind of like, they're getting a little sloppy again. End of the second period, they got really, really sloppy for 2.5 minutes. Yeah. And then the Leafs came out, had a power play. They didn't get one there, but they kind of continued the momentum over, got one soon thereafter. And it was 3-2. And then Ottawa was like, okay, yeah, enough dicking around here.
Right.
As Pat Quinn would say. Our friend Julian is in. Dennis Gilbert injured, so Lassie Thompson may be called upon. Bad turnover by Nick Cousins on that Easton Cowan goal. Good win, though. And that's the thing. For Dennis Gilbert, he had a weird game. Like, he was laying on the puck.
Yeah.
And got a penalty, which I don't even understand what he was doing. He got caught out of position a couple times, but then he made that diving great play.
Made up for it.
And then injured.
Do we have a report yet from the team? Just anybody in the chat, or I'll double check on that real quick. Like,
we just walked in the door here, so we will.
I'll check the media sends Twitter very quickly.
A Dennis Gilbert injury update is not something I had on my bingo card.
No.
Ethan is in and says, "Go Sens, go, gents! Good wins, couple moments, mostly 2 goals you wish Linus had, but as the fans take 2 points and you're happy." So, Ethan, I'm not trying to disagree with you every time you write something on this show. I actually didn't have a problem with the goals. I'd have to watch them again, because when you go to the games, you don't see the replays of the goals because they don't show the replays of the opposition goals.
Right.
But I didn't think they were bad goals when I saw them live.
No.
It didn't feel like, like that kind of, like the third goal, Mr. Fogle, who gets every goal the way he gets. That was a goal on Justin Wool. Now, that's Joseph Wool. That's one of the stories of the game, that Joseph Wool was the backup with Anthony Stolarz, and Stolarz gets hit in the neck Do we know it was William Nylander?
I'm 99% sure. Yeah, William Nylander shot him and it went up and got him in the throat. Said that he went to the Ottawa hospital as well.
Right. So Joseph Woll, who played last night against the Carolina Hurricanes and thought, oh, I got a night off 15 minutes before the game. Yeah, you need to go back in for us. And we're actually really bad defensively. So
yeah.
Tough one for him.
Nylander just trying to help the Toronto tank out a little bit, I guess.
Yep. See, our fact checker's back. Our fact checker's back from the B-Sens game. Boots on the ground, McGibbon. We were boots on the ground here in Ottawa, boots on the ground in Belleville.
Yeah, Zach, what was the final score? How'd the B-Sens do tonight? How was their goaltending? How was Carter Yakimchuk?
I like it.
We need to know.
Tanner's got a little oomph in his voice, probably because once again, when we did our predictions, he asked me what the score would be and who would win. And I said Ottawa would win 5-2. And what was the score?
5-2.
Oh, okay.
I took 4-1, and you were going to agree with me.
But I didn't.
But you didn't.
But I remember that Linus Hallmark was the goalie. And I'm like, they're going to get it.
Yeah. Do we have his stats from tonight?
Let in 2 goals on 14 shots. That's
still not a great save percentage.
No, it's not.
It's
that's what I mean. Like, it's not great. But they were never in serious jeopardy of.
Yeah, Julian saying there's no update on Gilbert. I didn't see anything on Sens Media that he wouldn't return, but I think it was pretty late into the game that it was I think it was a hit from OEL.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see, I guess. I would assume before, I don't know if they're going to practice again, probably not before Monday. So we might not know for a bit.
Yeah, they won't practice Monday, just a morning skate.
Right.
I doubt they would practice. They're not practicing tomorrow. I'm telling you right now. On a travel day, when you're playing 5 times in 7 days, they're not practicing tomorrow.
Yeah, Thompson's already up, so you would think they'd move Matt and Paolo over and have Thompson on the right.
First goal wasn't great, says Ethan. Truthfully, you want Linus to have his arm more tucked, but not the worst. Ethan said that Sogard was bad and Levy went in for relief. I'm gonna wait to see what our man on the scene, boots on the ground, Gibby says. B-Sens lose 5-3 to the Thunderbirds. I like how he pretends that everyone knows who the Thunderbirds are.
That's Seattle's team, right?
In the WHL, in the Western Hockey League, in junior hockey, yes. But yeah, I believe it's Springfield. But Zach, you can correct me. But Zach, you can't just be throwing out Thunderbirds in the AHL. Like, everyone knows who they are.
Whose affiliate is that? Even like
Springfield?
It's not Pittsburgh. It's not Columbus. It's not Boston.
Okay, well, Zach and defense didn't look good on Belleville. Gave up 2 shorthanded goals in the first period. Sogard pulled in the middle of the second.
Is it Jersey?
St. Louis. Zach
okay.
Says. So
is it Springfield, Missouri?
No, you're very Simpsons minded right now. Yes. Yeah. See, exactly.
I'm fucking messing with you.
You're not like, I'm dumb, but I'm not that dumb. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not that bright. I get it. You think you can do these things, Zach? Who are the Thunderbirds? Because it's not St. Louis.
Well, hopefully, your guy there, Levi Maryland.
I said Levy, even though it says Lee, Lee, Levi. Brett Favre.
Who?
Do you even know who I'm talking about?
No.
Brett Favre?
No.
You don't know who Brett Favre is?
No.
Guys, I'm out. Guys, this is going to be the last. I know we're talking hockey. But this might be it. You don't know who Brett Favre is?
No.
Guys, come on.
I'm bringing the Google out here.
Guys, help me out here. He's one of the most famous quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, that's why I don't watch football.
But one of the most famous. This is like, do you know who Tom Brady is?
You could ask me to name 10 football players, and I would maybe get to 5.
Tanner, do you know who Tom Brady is?
Yes.
Okay, well, this is the same.
I know Tom Brady. I know Gronk. I know Josh Allen. And
oh my God,
we're getting pretty dry already here.
Okay, Julian says Packers legend. Like, it literally, he was the quarterback for 15 years before Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback for 15 years.
Okay, I don't watch football.
I know. And Zach, in caps, is yelling at you. How do you not know who Brett Favre is? And then
because I don't watch football.
And then Ethan coming in with, I don't know either.
Thanks. I don't really want to.
Do you want Ethan on your side on this one? I'm telling you, you don't. Let's get back to the hockey game, though. And Tim Stützle on the it wasn't on the power play, but it felt like it was on the power play because he had so much room when he moved in to beat Wool. The Giroux goal was nice. The Fogle goal was not nice.
Oh, Wool would want that one back for sure. Tavares was okay. I don't remember Cowan's enough to really say. Amadios was
we were
nice.
We were talking about Michael Amadio with the people in front of us all night long.
What beauties as well. We got to talk about them.
Incredible. So I met Brian and Blake, but Brian and Blake, we stood at the very top of section 312, like above where the last row is.
We didn't take our seats. We just felt like standing tonight.
So I felt it weird because when the first goal went in, they weren't happy. They didn't cheer, but they weren't like booing or Leaf fans and I'm like, what's going on with these guys? Right. And we ended up talking to them, and they were a group that does basically an arena in the NHL a year. And they go around, some of them have done between kind of 14, 15, 16, 17 rinks. And they take a trip with the guys. And this year was to Ottawa, but one's from California, a couple from BC and kind of up north a little bit in BC. And Brian from Sacramento, California, massive hockey fan.
Yeah.
Like he knew everything that was going on.
And I think a little cool part that I think Sens fans would enjoy is he bought a set of Patrick Lalim's goalie pads and actually wears them when he plays.
Incredible. Bought them for $600 and looked up the fact that Lalim was the same kind of height and weight, and the pads would fit him. And yeah, he struts those around. He's pretty proud to talk about his Patrick Lalim pads. But we exchanged numbers, and I might get Brian's talker too. Yeah. Kind of look like Ted Lasso a little bit.
Led
Tasso is what we're going to bring him on.
He also knew Jamie Baker. That was the name that he remembered.
Very much so. Jamie Baker was drinking beers with him at a firefighter's place out in California, because that's, of course, San Jose, one of the closer teams to where he lives. But he knew everything. They've been all over, and Ottawa was their trip this year, and
just beauties.
They were awesome to talk to. Awesome. Ethan says, ouch. You deserve it, Ethan. If you don't know who Brett Favre is, just like Tanner, you deserve it. This is not like knowing who Dennis Gilbert is. The fact that you and Tanner know who Dennis Gilbert is and don't know who Brett Favre is, come on. Like this one's tough for me. Zach says Carter Yakimchuk had a rough first period, did get a really nice power play goal in the third. The offensive talent's absolutely there. Defensive side still needs work. Feel like this is the story every game. And like, this is the story from Carter Yakimchuk from when he got to Belleville to now. Like, the story hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, well, he's improving a little bit. No.
But he had a nice power play goal, and the offensive talent is absolutely there. Yeah. Seems to me like he's becoming a bit of an Evan Bouchard, possibly.
Oh.
That wouldn't be a terrible thing.
No.
But, might be a longer road to the NHL.
Okay, let's update the scoreboard here, because obviously an important game, in the Red Wings have a 2-1 lead over the Boston Bruins with 13:38 to go in the third period. Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond. Yeah, DeBrincat's got 35 again this year. All he does is score. Lucas Raymond, 22. David Pastrnak has the Bruins goal. And Montreal with a massive 7-3 victory over the New York Islanders. Cole Caulfield with the hat trick.
Yep. Slavkovsky gets a couple as well, and then Gooley and Newhook.
So Ottawa, once again, they were going to get some help. As long as that game didn't go to overtime, they were going to get some help one way or another. Are you happy that the Islanders lost? And, the Bruins have just tied the game. How about that? Elias Lindholm has scored with 13:30 to go, and we got a 2-2 game, and that's disaster for Ottawa.
Yeah.
That just praying that game does not go to overtime. If you're a Sens fan, feels like it is. And look, on the scoreboard, Ottawa not getting a lot of help. I mean, Montreal Islanders, someone was going to lose. I guess you'd want the Islanders to lose. That's a tiny bit of help for sure.
Nice that it was regulation as well.
But
I think that's preferred.
But Pittsburgh wins in a shootout earlier this afternoon.
Yep.
Columbus wins again. And the fact that Columbus, we looked it up since the bonus hire.
Yeah.
They actually fired Bonus and won a game before.
They didn't fire Bonus. They fired Dean.
They fired Evison, got Bonus. You're right. And they won a game before that happened. But since Bonus has taken over, they are 18-2-4.
It's pretty good.
Well, that's better than pretty good. That's like the best in the league.
Might be, dare I say, first Jack Adams Award winner that hasn't even coached half the games in a season. That'd be pretty crazy. There's some good competition though for that trophy this year. Like, I don't think
if they make the playoffs and don't stop what they're doing, I think he might win.
There's some others too, like Dan Muse out in Pittsburgh. I think is going to get a lot of love. I think
100%.
John Cooper, based on everything that Tampa dealt with this year, injury wise, and you look at guys like Darren Radish just stepping up out of nowhere.
Don't let Lindy Ruff win. Like I love the Sabres story.
Yeah, for how much like talk there is about the Sabres being good and turning it around, I don't hear anything about Lindy Ruff. Like, do they even? He's not. I don't think he's even signed into next season. Like, I don't know if he's going to be the coach next year.
Well, how about Bonus? He's not signed next year. He just took over temporarily.
I did see something recently, where I think that ownership, or maybe it was him, that said they're going to have a conversation in the offseason to see if they want to continue. I wonder about imagine like a Pete DeBoer in Buffalo. I could see that.
We'll see what happens with Lindy Ruff, because obviously they're going to want to keep him. It's whether Lindy Ruff wants to stay.
Well, yeah. Okay.
No specific update from Travis Green. It says Gilbert going to miss a little time.
Lassie Thompson, is that your music, my friend?
Does Lassie Thompson have music?
Probably not. I don't know. Oh, hey, he's Finnish, and I will say, going to some of the World Junior games when they were in Ottawa, Finland has my favorite goal song out of every country.
Okay.
It's just really catchy. I have it downloaded on my phone, and I just listen to it. I don't know a word of it, but it's awesome. It starts with a lion's roar, and got this really good tempo. Gets your head bump. I was at a Slovakia-Finland game, and they scored like 7 goals. Yeah. So we were just... Anyways, besides the
Ethan would rather Boston win in regulation over Detroit in regulation.
Yeah.
Is that because, Ethan, you feel like Detroit's the easier team to catch? I feel like that's the way people are feeling right now.
I would agree. And they got Andrew Kopp's back, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just actually saying you just want to face off now on the scoreboard we've got here. So he apparently rushed back a little bit from what I heard. So take that how you will. Dylan Larkin's still not back for them. And seems like John Gibson's starting to play pretty well again.
Julian says, fun fact, Islanders and Blue Jackets play tomorrow.
Yeah. And then Detroit's got quite the run coming up. They play they've already played Montreal now.
They're playing Boston tonight, and they play Ottawa Tuesday.
Yeah, and then they've got Columbus down the stretch as well. Not in the immediate future, but
yeah. But this important stretch for Detroit, and
they're not looking bad so far.
Well, they beat Calgary, and then they beat Montreal. And now they're tied at 2 with Boston. So they're doing what they need to do too.
Not very fraudulent.
Not yet, but we'll see.
Yep.
I don't think they are either. I do think they're probably the team. Like, Boston's just played really, really well over the last 2 months. So you got to catch somebody.
Yeah. Still surprises me with their roster.
And Columbus is not slowing down at all. And they look like they're going to keep a spot in the Metro, which probably means the Islanders fall down and you're going to have to beat.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's not slowing down
at all.
Erik Karlsson's going back to 2017 mode almost.
2 goals for EK today.
First star of the night.
And that 5-4 victory in the shootout over the Winnipeg.
Crosby's back now as well.
Zach says, for what it's worth, Lassie Thompson not in a lineup for the B-Sens.
Well, Zach, he was in the press box here in Ottawa.
He's here, Zach.
That would kind of determine why he's here. He's been called up since last week.
Mm-hmm. Ethan says the video is freezing, but it's only Ethan.
Could be an Ethan issue.
Yeah, Ethan, stop complaining. Okay,
can't have shit in Orleans.
You're right, and nobody else complaining. And if anyone else does complain, I'm not going to listen to that either. Ethan, stop complaining. Ethan says Yak's someone who will need a shutdown defenseman with speed beside him. Gives shades of Shabbat. Nothing's overly wrong with it, but something needs to be there to cover D to allow his talent to flow.
I don't.
Ethan, he needs to figure out how to play defensively because he's a defenseman.
Yeah, but like I don't think Shabbat's a good comp because
No.
I think his defensive skill is quite a bit more than Yakimchuk's was when he was drafted.
Yes.
And I don't think it's particularly close.
No, it's the offensive part of Shabbat's game that they kind of thought, well, he's really good at getting the puck out of his own zone, and so he's got that speed, but he doesn't have necessarily the offensive touch. Again tonight, right? He was at the point, no threat to shoot in some of these situations.
But to me, there could be some intrigue in like how would he play next to a Jake Sanderson at the NHL level in a couple of years? Carter Yakimchuk, I'm referring to, of having a guy who's really elite defensively, but then you're also wondering, is that going to hold Sanderson back at all?
Yes, you don't want to hold Sanderson back whatsoever.
Like, would he work on a second pair with Thomas Chabot? I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think if Carter Yakimchuk ever got to the level that was close to Thomas Chabot, that Thomas Chabot wouldn't be here. I believe that.
Yeah.
Because you can't have everyone. Like Chabot's making $8 million.
Right.
And if Yakimchuk is going to take that, if he's ready to take the spot of being like a top 4, moving the puck, doing all these offensive things.
Obviously not yet, but I wonder about a Clevin Yakimchuk in a couple of years when Clevin's had a few more years, just as an all defense guy. He's contributing a little bit recently, but
he's played really well.
I've really liked his game, especially he struggled, I think, a little bit earlier in the year, but it's his second full year as a defenseman in the NHL. He's still very young. I think Clevin's going to be a top 4 guy sooner or later. And if he's going to be all defense, then maybe you've got Yakimchuk there, and then he can probably quarterback the second power play. I think that'd be a good spot. Maybe he eventually takes over first from Sanderson, but
Nikita Zadorov has scored for the Boston Bruins.
Wow.
Thank you, Julian, who did tip me off to that Boston is leading 3-2 with 9:26 to go. Ethan says, go Bruins, and shuddering as he says that. That's fair. Julian saying there's absolutely no reason to be rushing Yakimchuk into the NHL. Don't need a Cody Ceci 2.0. Julian, I don't know if you know this or not, but Cody Ceci is not a guy that you're going to run down on this show and just make like, he's just not.
He's a big Cody Ceci guy. Not a big Zub guy, but a big Cody Ceci guy.
Look, I don't think Cody Ceci's one of those great defensemen that people are kind of clapping on that he deserves more credit. But I will tell you that all Cody Ceci does is play important games. 106 playoff games for Cody Ceci in his career. 106.
I just think it's been a lot of his contracts, if anything. And I'm still shocked that LA gave him what they did.
I know.
In the offseason.
But he plays big minutes, and he's not a shutdown guy, but he can play big minutes and kind of be that steadying. He doesn't do a lot of things spectacularly, but I'm just saying there's a reason the guy, like, it's insane to me. Cody Ceci is 60 games away from hitting 1,000 games in the NHL. Okay. 1,000 games and 106 playoff games. You can't tell me, oh, well, that guy's terrible, because everyone just craps on him all the time. He's going to hit 1,000 games in the middle of next year in the National Hockey League.
He hasn't missed the playoffs a whole lot in his career.
No, and that's what I mean. As soon as he left Ottawa, all he did was make the playoffs he's made the playoffs every year, because this year in the San Jose one, he got traded to Dallas, and Dallas made the playoffs. Now, if the Kings don't make it,
looking kind of dicey for them.
Yeah, but since he left Ottawa before COVID, he has made the playoffs every year. So crap on him all you want. All he does is play important minutes for good teams. Like, look at the teams he's played for. Pittsburgh, Edmonton, San Jose, Dallas. He did play for Toronto, too. I didn't want to bring that up. But
were they a playoff? They would have been a playoff team at that point, yeah.
I know. See, this is Julian, this is all you meant. And Julian says it was not a knockout. I just thought Ottawa rushed him in the league. I don't disagree with that.
I would also bring up like Curtis Lazar, I think, was another name that really got pushed into the league before he was ready for it. But I think also, to your point, there's guys like Bouchard that I think work better in the NHL than they do in the AHL.
Yes.
So that I'm curious to see how he's going to play at that level.
So this is a really good point. I do think Yakimchuk will be better in the NHL than he is in the AHL, but he still has to improve defensively quite a bit.
Yes. And I feel like if the Senators were out of it at this point, maybe we would have seen him by now, just with some of the call-ups that have been made. But because they're still in this playoff push, he's just not a guy that I think you can really trust in that spot. And it's his first season as well in the AHL.
Right.
Like you saw that with Tyler Clevin. Tyler Clevin was probably ready for NHL more so than Yakimchuk is right now.
Agreed.
And they kept Clevin down. And they were playing Travis Hamonic and Eric Brandstrom.
Right. And then even when Clevin went in, people started, oh, well, he's not ready yet. Like, come on.
Like, look at all the comments Bouchard gets.
Yeah.
And he's been in the league for how long? And they're paying him $10 million.
I bet Lee hates the Zoob chants too. I actually can't stand them, Ethan. Like, it drives me fucking crazy. Crazy. Do you know why? Because Artem Zub could be a really good guy, could be a really bad guy, but nobody ever talks to Artem Zub. You never hear from Artem Zub after the game, right? And, well, it's the language barrier. Is it?
I've heard some of his interviews. His English, it's gotten better, but at least when he's talking to the media, like, I would love to know how he is in the locker room, to be honest.
Because one of my favorite things as a guy that covered Volchenkov for the Ottawa Senators, never did interviews. No, English, no. Right? Go all of a sudden run into Volchenkov at the gas station. There isn't a word or like perfect English.
Did he come over earlier than Zub would have, though? Like, I don't know my Volchenkov history. Like, did he get drafted by the Sens and come over? Okay.
Yeah.
Whereas Zub was grabbed from the KHL when he was like 26.
Yeah.
A little
fair.
Younger, probably.
So all I'm saying is that people love Artem Zub because they don't know anything about Artem Zub. That's the only reason.
His name is fun to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't know anything else about him. So that it's fun to say. And that's the only thing people have on Zub.
Yeah.
That's why it drives me crazy. 6:38 to go in that game now. Bruins Red Wings 3-2 with the Boston Bruins leading. So Ethan says Zub shows up, stops pucks, and leaves. What's wrong with that? Fantastic defenseman, plays an amazing game. I would say a steady defenseman that gets more love in Ottawa because they don't have any steady defensemen, really. Like, they have Jake Sanderson, who's unbelievable, and they have Thomas Chabot, who can get the puck out of his own zone. But that kind of steadying guy should be a 4 or a 5 if you're on a really good team. But in Ottawa, Artem Zub's a top pairing guy, and he reminds me a little bit of Philip Kuba. Do you remember Philip Kuba?
Vaguely, yeah.
Philip Kuba played with Erik Karlsson.
Yep.
People couldn't play with Erik Karlsson, but Kuba found a way to mesh well with Erik Karlsson. So then he was a top pair guy, and then everyone was like, "Oh my God, Philip Kuba, he's amazing." Actually, he's not really that good. He just meshed well with Karlsson.
And I mean, he meshes great with Sanderson, and analytically, they're among the best in the league.
Yes.
He's playing great with Chabot right now. This is a conversation we're going to have in the summer a little bit more, because we've spent a bit of time talking about Drake Batherson, but Artem Zub is also eligible for an extension in July.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what that's going to look like. If he is a top pair guy here and they want to keep him,
but he's not a top pair guy. He's a guy that plays with the best player on the team.
What's his agent going to say? Like, I have a hard time thinking he's taking, I don't know, less than 5 or 6 million probably, especially with the way the cap's going.
Yeah. I mean, if he's going to be a top 4 guy, I think he is a top 4 defenseman. Agreed. I just think people value him a little bit too much because he's got a cool little chant and a nickname and things that, like, he's just a steady guy. That's great. But why are we overvaluing a steady guy that doesn't?
Because there's not much else here.
Zach says Artem Zub, the Tajiri of the Ottawa Senators. I don't know that I would go Tajiri. Who would I go with? Here's a good example. Here's one for you, Zach. Let's go AW. How about your boys in Job Speed? Mike Bailey.
He's a really good wrestler, though.
Okay, but is he a top guy?
No.
This is Artem Zub, a really good defenseman, but not a top guy. I think Mike Bailey's a really good example.
Yeah, but
he's a really good wrestler.
But also Zub's analytics and the way he plays with Sanderson say that he is a top pair guy. So
take him away from Jake Sanderson.
Sure.
And let's see his analytics then.
You could say that with just about any. Take Devontae's away from. Again, maybe that's a bad example. Makar's pretty freaking good.
Oh boy.
Okay, but even Quinn Hughes before he had Hronik on his side, he wasn't great in Vancouver.
I'm telling you, if Artem Zub played with Matt Mbalo or Gilbert or Spence or maybe Spence a little bit more, because Spence is...
That's tough because they're both righties, but yeah.
Yeah, but Spence is a guy that can get out of his own zone a little bit more. But if Zub just played with even Clevin, they'd be buried in their own zone and his analytics would go way down. This is my opinion, but his analytics would go way down.
We're going to talk about those Jordan Spence analytics too.
Oh,
pretty good. Those expected goals, if you look at all the Senators pairs that have played more than 50 minutes together this season, in terms of expected goals, number 1, Shabbat Spence. Number 2, Clevin Spence. Number 3, Sanderson Spence. It's just all Spence.
Yeah. Ethan, this is where Ethan gets carried away. I like that I get Ethan. League, I would guarantee you Zub is seen as a top pair guy by most teams.
Most is probably a stretch.
Well, no, it is a stretch. And then he backs out of his statement at the end by saying top 4 minimum. Massive difference between a top pair guy and a second pair guy in the NHL.
Yeah, I do think ideally he's a second pair defenseman.
Yes.
I don't think he's a super low end number, first pair guy.
No. Anyway, Ethan, you guarantee you would be a top pair guy by most teams. I would go around every team and go, Zub couldn't play in their top pair. Every freaking team. Except Toronto.
Playoff teams, maybe.
Except Toronto.
I was going to say, he'd probably play on San Jose's top pair with John Klingberg and Dmitry Orlov.
Leading. So, maybe. But
playoff teams, you could probably draw it around there.
Point being, analytics tonight, what Ottawa did to Toronto again, 43-14.
Yeah.
The shots on goal, and just an ability again to take teams and literally crush their spirit. And that's what happened basically from the middle of the first period on, except for a couple of stretches, the end of the second, beginning of the third. The Leafs got a little bit of momentum, scoring both goals in that time period, but the Sens just got sloppy. I don't think they look at this game and go, okay, what did Toronto do? We need to figure out what they did to us because they put us in a bad spot. I think they just got sloppy in a couple of spots.
Yeah, I would agree.
4:53 to go. Red Wings trail the Boston Bruins 3-2.
Coming down to the wire.
Ottawa fans just hoping it does not go to overtime.
We all know who would probably score that goal to tie it up too. I'm not going to speak his name.
DeBrincat.
Yep.
Yes. Feels like it.
Probably. Or I could even see Raymond getting another one too. He's really good.
Ethan says, I did not realize that Woll saved 38 shots. Still impressive after playing last night. I actually thought he was pretty good. His defense is horrific. Yeah. There were times that Ottawa was just toying with that team.
I still can't believe some of the Leafs fans and media that think this is going to be a 1-year turnaround like the Bruins are doing this year. I just do not see it at all.
I see it the opposite. I think
they should blow it up.
I think they're going to trade Austin Matthews. I think they should. Well, if William Nylander was a guy they were thinking about trading, injuring their goalie in warm-up is not going to help.
It's just tough with the first they've given up. They don't have a first this year or next year.
Yeah.
So if they suck next year and their pick's already gone, what does that get you? Not much, unless you can find a way to get that pick back. But I mean,
But you have
Philly's
to.
not giving them a pick.
You're either going to be. You have to be good, or you have to be on the way to being good.
Yeah.
And I don't see the Leafs in either of those spots. Right now.
I almost wonder if they're not going to do a ton this summer, like with a Matthews trade or something, and they're going to be like this again next year, and that's when it happens. There's a part of me that feels maybe that's what we're going to end up seeing, but
that's what most teams might do.
Right.
The pressure in Toronto might not allow them to do that.
Right. Like, I don't think, I think the coach is gone for sure. Berube, I can't see him be here next season, just especially after the last couple of weeks. But I also think there's been a lot of talk this summer about how weak the UFA classes are, and people are going to start paying for term. I think Matthews is probably a guy that fits in there, same as, like a Robert Thomas. There's a lot of noise around him at the deadline. It's going to be an interesting summer, I think, for trades compared to the last couple of years.
I think the Leafs, if they don't end up having their pick this year, if it's not a top 5 pick and they somehow sneak into that, they're going to have to think about blowing it up.
And maybe there is a team that would give them a top 5 to 10 pick for Matthews as part of a package.
Oh, I would think the Leafs would almost ask for that for sure. If they wanted to. If you have Austin Matthews, you can ask for a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you are dictating the terms.
Yeah, but I think a lot of contenders obviously wouldn't have their picks this year, and they try to do like a package around their next year's first, probably some prospects, roster guy.
I don't know that a contender is going to get Austin Matthews more than the best fit for what's coming back. And that probably is a team.
Could we pull the standings up? I'm kind of curious about some of these bottom here.
I actually think the two teams that stick out for me are Seattle and Utah.
Seattle, I was going to mention because they were in on Panarin, right?
Right. Both teams don't have a star.
Yeah, like your Calgary, Vancouver, I can't see them moving there first. I think it makes sense for them to go the complete route of where Toronto's probably heading, of trying to get, like, imagine Calgary, Vancouver get McKenna and Stenberg. I think that'd be pretty cool for those two teams. Chicago might be an interesting one too. You think they would go for it?
Yep.
Have a Matthews and Bedard. Like, I don't think St. Louis makes sense. He's not going to Winnipeg.
No. The Kings already have Panarin now, and they're not. No, I think Utah, Seattle.
I got a crazy one. And I don't know how they would make the cap work.
Well, okay.
You think you know where I'm going?
I think so.
Can you imagine if Minnesota made a play for him?
Well, that's because Bill Guerin's just been throwing everything.
And their biggest need is a center. I don't know. If they could get the Leafs to retain on that and gave them a shit ton of assets, and they had a team with Kaprizov, Matthews, and Hughes as your big three.
I think the Leafs would want to trade him to the Western Conference.
Agreed.
But in saying that, there are probably some big Eastern Conference markets, including the New York Rangers, including the Philadelphia Flyers, that are going to be, I think, circling for the likes of an Austin Matthews and or a Brady Tkachuk.
I know another one in there. I think Washington would probably make a play for a big guy, especially if Ovechkin's hanging them up this season.
Yep. I don't know that that's as much of a destination for people.
Agreed.
I'm telling you, I see Brady Tkachuk as a New York Ranger or a Philadelphia Flyer. I see Austin Matthews as maybe in Utah.
You were bringing up Brady in Utah a couple of weeks ago.
I think Utah needs a star. That's my point. And Matthews or Brady fits that bill.
Like, Keller's a great player, but they don't have that real.
Yeah, they don't have a
big
real
name,
true superstar.
Like, Keller's elite player, but he's not quite on that level.
Ethan says crazy one that I had last stream also just now. I think he meant Utah, Buffalo, or Minnesota.
For Matthews?
First of all, spell Minnesota properly next time. And I don't know why those are crazy.
I don't know about Buffalo.
No, why would Buffalo ever give up a whole bunch of stuff now to go get a guy? Like, they're building everything properly and playing really well in Buffalo. the last thing you'd want to do is bring in a guy that's going to come and kind of change the whole culture. And it's not a destination that people want to go to. It's just not.
Yeah, I could still see them trying to get like Robert Thomas. I think that would make some sense for them. But yeah, I don't know about Matthews there, to be honest. Matthews has surely got some trade protection too.
Yeah.
Probably a full no trade. So he's deciding where he's going.
Want to go back to the scoreboard here. Oh, the Boston Bruins have scored again. Is it an empty net goal? I don't know, but 4-2. The Bruins are going to beat the Red Wings tonight.
That's good news for the Sens.
Yep.
Who got that last one there?
I don't know. You say his name.
I can barely read it from here. That's a lot of vowels.
It's a very long Russian name that I don't.
Kushnikov. What about that? Or is there a D in there?
Kushnutdiov.
Kuznetsov.
And Julian says it was an empty net. Fact checker. This is the stuff we need, Zach. Stolar's released from hospital and returning to the Leafs. So that's good news after being hit in the warm-up by William Nylander in the neck and having to leave the CTC and go to a local Ottawa hospital.
A local medical facility?
Mm-hmm. Feels like he's going to come back in that, driving the ambulance back into the rink.
Right into the ice.
Feels
runs over William Nylander. Or no, William Nylander flips the ambulance. You know what I mean?
That's good news for Stolarz to get back. See, Ethan gets his knickers and then not here. Why are we talking about trading Brady? I feel like he extends in Ottawa at least for another few years. Maybe not a career Senator, but I don't see him getting shipped anytime soon. Okay, well, Ethan, what I would say to you is he's not going to sign a long-term extension in Ottawa. Does he sign a short-term bridge deal because he thinks the team is really good and he legitimately has a chance to win the Stanley Cup? Maybe.
Depends where they are.
Right.
This playoffs, if they make it, plus next season.
Yes. But they could be at the top of the league or they could be nowhere close. The reason we're talking about it, because Brady, to me, ultimately wants to finish his career and play some important time in the United States as the captain for an American city. I just believe he wants to do that. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because if you believe that to be true, if you're Ottawa, you can't just let it run out and give him.
You cannot lose him the way the Leafs did with Marner. There's no way.
Well, look at where the Leafs are now.
Yeah.
Because of that. It has crippled their franchise.
Yeah, it's great. You got Nick Waugh and he managed to turn that into a first, but still, yeah.
Julian says extension talks can only begin in the summer. Anyway.
Next summer.
Yeah, not this summer.
This summer would be Batherson, Zub, and then your RFAs are like Jordan Spence.
Yeah. You're allowed to talk 1 year out.
Yes.
From the end of your deal. And Brady is 2 years out.
Yeah. But I think if they make it probably close to the trade deadline that year, you're going to see him probably on the move. And I don't want to see that. I would love to see Brady Tkachuk retire as an Ottawa Senator. I think he's a unicorn and you can't replace that type of player in Ottawa, but you cannot lose him for nothing. And I think you would get a hell of a return for Brady. And you still have two great core pieces in Sanderson and Stützle to build around who are arguably more important than him.
But with both of those guys, isn't it interesting that they have 2 years left, Matthews and Tkachuk? And that they're both American captains of Canadian teams, and they both won a gold medal together.
That's going to be a big UFA year. McDavid's up that year too.
Mm-hmm. And that's the year the Cap's supposed to be up kind of at the very top.
Yeah, like 120, 130, I think they're saying.
Around there. So, yeah, I mean, it only gets more interesting. I think you have to enjoy Brady now, but you can't let it get too close because the value goes way down. Like Brady is valuable right now. He's most valuable. So is Matthews because they have 2 years left at like Brady's deal at just over 8 is way less than Matthews. But
yeah, he's making like 13.
But the point being, with the cap going up and Brady making that for 2 years, that is such a value to other teams that you can ask for the world, and they might give it to you.
Because you have them for 2 playoff runs.
Right.
Look what they got. Look what I still think the biggest comp right now for Brady is Quinn Hughes and what the Minnesota Wild gave up to get him, which was a pretty big package, basically the equivalent of 3 first-round picks plus.
And that was for a year and a half, right? Quinn Hughes?
Yes. Yeah, because he can talk extensions this summer as well. I think he's probably going to stick around in Minnesota too. He seems pretty happy there.
You want to bet?
Oh, you still think he's going to New Jersey?
I know he's going to New Jersey.
Okay. I
know he's going there. No, I know he's going there.
What if Jack goes to Minnesota?
Yeah, I think you're not seeing the big picture here. The big picture is that they're all going to play together, and they might get freaking Brady Tkachuk or
that'd be nuts.
Austin Matthews.
You think if the Panthers don't turn it around, we see 2 Tkachuks on the move?
Oh, yes.
That'd be fascinating.
Matthews done everything in Florida. What does he have left to do? Go and join his brother and his friends to try and win a Stanley Cup in another city. He doesn't need to do that in Florida anymore.
In Minnesota.
I'm telling you, Jersey, the Rangers, and Philadelphia. I'm telling you right now that those teams are going to have some of the players that we're talking about right now.
It's the last thing Philly needs right now, though. Oh my God, they need to do a proper rebuild or just commit to it. Like they're just
so no, they're playing fairly well right now. I was saying this to you earlier. They keep winning games right now. They've won 3 games in a row. They have 80 points. And
to me, that's Rick Tocchet getting a lot out of those guys that maybe he wouldn't otherwise. And just look at the way that Michkov has been developing this year. So up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Good story for Zegras. Do I think he's going to be a number 1 center? Probably not. You give that weird deal to Christian Dvorak. You got Couturier locked up. I still think they need a couple of really high draft picks to properly be a better team down the line.
Okay, so that's what you and probably many other people who know hockey and think about the long term.
Yeah.
What some of the owners and some of the general managers think about is not that. They think about a big star that's going to bring in many dollars and a lot of focus and a lot of eyes on their franchise, and they hope that they can be good around them, and that's all they think about. It's like, how do we get Brady Tkachuk in a Flyers uniform? Broad Street Bullies, 70s. Nobody fits the mold more than Brady. Nobody.
I won't lie. They got some pieces I would like to.
Okay.
Former 67 Travis Konechny, I think would fit.
It would feel like this. I wanted to get back with my ex for 10 years and I wasn't able to, but then I finally did when she got old. Like, come on.
And then they've got that center that was drafted top 5 last year. He was on the World Juniors team. His name is Porter Martone, I believe.
Martone, yeah.
Porter Martone. And this one will get a rise out of you. Or Radek Bonk's kid, Oliver Bonk, right shot defenseman, high-end prospect.
It does.
Probably jump into the NHL next year. But a package of around those 3 plus probably.
So I'm going to turn the talk back here.
Okay.
Because
we're getting a little off-season talk.
We're suddenly trading Brady Tkachuk when the Ottawa Senators. So here's the scenario that hopefully people understand now that the Boston Bruins have beat the Detroit Red Wings. Ottawa's 3 points out of a playoff spot.
Wow.
And they play the Rangers on Monday. Detroit does not play again until they play Ottawa on Tuesday. By Tuesday night, Ottawa could be in a playoff spot. It's possible.
Wouldn't they be 1 point back still? I mean, like before going into the Red Wings game, they would be 1 point back.
And if they beat the Red Wings on Tuesday,
they're in.
That's what I just said.
Okay. Yeah. I thought you meant going into the game.
Nope.
Okay.
I said by the end of Tuesday night, it's possible. Now, they would also need, like, the Islanders couldn't win a game in the meantime.
Yeah.
Because they might get up into a wild card spot ahead of Detroit. So Ottawa and Detroit could be out.
Yep.
So
the Islanders may not play again until Tuesday either.
Just checking on their schedule real quick.
Unless they're playing tomorrow on a back-to-back.
They are playing Columbus tomorrow.
Oh, that's a big one.
See,
right, we talked about that earlier.
like,
wow.
But it's true, right? I could never look somebody in the face with a straight face and go, Islanders, Columbus, Sunday night, March 22nd. It's going to be a massive game.
Yeah. Tell that to someone 6 months ago and see what they say. I think that's the reaction they'd have. But I think Tuesday night
game.
Regardless, like Monday, they can't overlook the Rangers because the Rangers have been playing better recently. Igor Shesterkin's stolen them a couple of games. Lafreniere is finally turning it on whenever the team looks out of it, as he seems to do. I still think he's going to get traded at some point too. But anyways, you can't look past the Rangers, but that Detroit game is the biggest game of the season for the Ottawa Senators.
Well, but it becomes bigger if they beat the Rangers, right? So
yes,
I'm just saying that there is a path right now, depending on what Columbus and the Islanders do. The Islanders also play Chicago on Tuesday night.
So they're also on a back-to-back.
So
we'll be talking about them a lot on this program then.
Well, they're on a back-to-back today and tomorrow. They don't play Monday. They play Chicago Tuesday.
Sorry.
But they still have 3 and 4. They're the team now that you're going to have to worry about in the standings other than Detroit. The Islanders and Detroit right now, to me, are the 2 teams that you're looking at to go, if we can get past them. But there is a chance that in 3 nights from now, in 72 hours, that the Ottawa Senators could be in a playoff spot.
It's pretty crazy.
They finally got, not help, but at least that game didn't go to overtime with Boston and Detroit. They have somebody that they play coming up, which they haven't had in a long time, that they can bring that team back to them. They brought the Islanders back, and now Detroit is that team on Tuesday. They got to beat the Rangers, though, to be able to do it. Every game we said it's a must win. They got to win this one. They got to win this one. But the path is starting to get a little bit more clear.
Yeah, and I think there's an important conversation to be had about the goaltending for that back-to-back as well.
Okay.
Let's do it. So it's a 7:30 start tomorrow night.
Yes, we were informed on the way home by listening to the local broadcast that because it's a prime game, it's not only a 7:30 start, but they probably won't drop the puck till 7:45.
Yes, in New York, and then the next game is 7:00 in Detroit.
Yeah,
not the longest flight, but still a back-to-back with travel, less than 24 hours apart. How do you handle the goaltending for those 2 games?
I think,
keeping in mind Allmark played tonight as well.
I know that the obvious answer is to play Reimer against the Rangers and then Allmark against Detroit. I think that's what they're going to do.
Agreed.
I just don't know. There is some of me that would want Linus Allmark to just take the reins at this point. But
it's tough because you need him at his best for Detroit.
And I'm not trying to get too far ahead, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they play Pittsburgh on Thursday.
You might be right.
And that would be another game that would be important. Yes, they do play Pittsburgh on Thursday.
Yeah, you would need him for Detroit
back at home.
Pittsburgh,
so I think Allmark's getting both of the Detroit and Pittsburgh games, which means I get nervous about James Reimer.
I get less nervous if they can play that same defensive shutdown style that we've seen the Senators play recently. If they can play that in front of James Reimer and only allow 12 shots on goal, maybe even less because there's not a lot of firepower in New York right now, I like their chances.
Well, you have to like their chances the way they've shut down teams. Like again tonight, even though they won 5-2, the score at 3-2 flattered the Leafs. They outshot them 43-14.
Right.
And not only that, when you look at kind of the period by period breakdown, at some point in the first period, the Leafs were shooting Ottawa 6-3. It was 9-6. The Leafs only got 8 shots in the last 40 minutes of this hockey game. 8 in 40 minutes. Like that, this is what Ottawa does to teams. Yeah. They just completely muzzle them.
And you're looking at a Rangers team that's even worse than this Leafs team, I would say.
I agree.
Not great aside from their goaltender, and you could probably say Adam Fox as well, but not a whole lot there. So,
but
interesting.
But as you said, such an important game to not look past it to get to Detroit.
Yeah. Because I think some people, I think to a degree, may have looked past the Washington Capitals a little bit earlier this week.
Yeah. And Washington is kind of doing their part. To everyone in the East, it's all they do is win.
Yeah.
Like the Philadelphia Flyers have won 3 in a row and they haven't gained much ground. The Flyers, they're only 4 back of a playoff spot right now, the Philadelphia Flyers.
That's right.
The Capitals are 6 back, having played more games, so they still have some work to do. But the Capitals have won a couple in a row. Flyers have won 3 in a row. Like the Flyers are 7-2-1 in their last 10.
Yeah.
And they're not really, I mean, they're gaining a little bit, but they're not getting a ton. And nobody in at least this show and other shows that I hear talk about the Philadelphia Flyers as one of the teams that you have to worry about. Right?
Yeah.
Kind of forgotten a little bit.
I don't think they're getting in personally, but I mean, it's hard to deny them. Yeah. They're a point behind Ottawa right now.
They're only 1 point back of Ottawa playing the same amount of games. And we know how well Ottawa's played. Anyway, I don't think the Ottawa Senators can worry too much about all, like we worry about all these other teams and all these other games, and it's really fun scoreboard watching. But for the Senators, for the most part, they've got the job done, right? Like they, in Washington, they lost, but they at times dominated that game. And Logan Thompson and 3 or 4 posts said that they didn't win that night.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset the team has. I don't know if you saw Tim Stutzla's media availability this morning, but he's saying like, "Oh, I really love watching hockey, but I just can't watch any of the Atlantic games right now.
Right?
Like, I love watching hockey, but I'm not. We just got to play our game and focus on our game." And I think that's what the team has to do right now.
Tim Stutzla with his 32nd of the year tonight, or he's going to get to 40. They have. What do they have? 13 games left.
That's a tall ask, I think.
But he is going to play a lot, right? He's going to play 20 minutes, important minutes, all the important power plays, all the things. Like Thomas Chabot again played 28.5 minutes tonight. Like he's just been a horse.
I think can we get Dylan Cousins stats up again? Yeah. Just whenever you've got a chance.
Of course.
Because I was saying something, I think a couple of shows ago. I think I said that if Dylan Cousins gets a career high in goals, this team makes the playoffs, and I want to see if we're on track for that.
What's Dylan Cousins' career high? He's got 24.
31, okay.
We're not on track.
We are not, no.
He's not getting to 31.
He looked like it at the time because he was pretty
on
hot.
a heater. He was on a heater for sure, but
I still think he's fit in so well with this group. But yeah, Stutzla, I don't think he's hitting 40. It'd be great, but...
How about Dylan Cousins? How about Dylan Cousins at -9 and Claude Giroux's +20?
That's crazy.
Like that's a big gap actually on this team.
Yeah.
Drake Batherson also -4. The rest of the guys are in the positives, except for
Jensen, Lixell,
Zetterlund.
Yeah. Your less important ones. Cousins, I've liked his game though. He's scoring a lot on the power play. I'm pretty sure he still leads this team in hits as well. So
yeah, I'm not as crazy about his game. The stats bear out, and even tonight, Tanner Rowell, folks, is watching. Like, Cousins, what are you doing?
Yeah, he had one play
and he always has one play.
Yeah,
in his own zone. That's what they're trying to get out of his game.
But you know what? It's better than not having a second line center.
Correct. I would.
If Cousins isn't there and they don't have a 2C right now because Josh Norris has been injured most of the season, I don't think this team's close to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Ethan said, I think it's how Green said after the Washington game that sometimes you just can't buy a goal. They dominated Washington, but the puck was just not meant for them to go in that game. Yeah, you can't control all of those things. You can control your effort and the things that you're doing along the way to try to win the game. And I thought they did enough in that Washington game to win that game most times. And they have to put themselves in a position where 1 or 2 games like that is not going to hurt them. So that's why they can't, like tonight, they just couldn't lose this game because you can't put yourself in a position losing to a terrible team like that. Same with Monday. You just can't lose to the New York Rangers. You can't.
No, they need to win that game.
suddenly very nervous about that Rangers game.
Shesterkin's stolen them a couple lately.
Well, right, and it's a
goalie to take lightly.
It's a hot goalie and a bad team, and a game that Ottawa will be looking forward to the night after more than the game that they're playing. That's a trap game, right?
Absolutely, it's a trap game, and that's Rangers are trying to play spoiler right now.
And that's not to say that Ottawa doesn't understand the importance of winning. It's just it's hard to not look at the Rangers and say that, well, if we play our game, we're going to win because they're not very good, and the importance of the game the next night. But as we sit here on Saturday night, I really look forward to Tuesday.
That's going to be a fun night,
right?
I think, yeah.
Like Tuesday, the Ottawa Senators play Detroit with a possible spot in the playoffs on the line on Tuesday. And even if it's not, if Ottawa wins that game, they push Detroit down. They'd be ahead of Detroit anyway in the standings. And worst case, they're like 1 point out of a playoff spot.
It's going to be
if they beat the
fun
Rangers.
night.
If they beat the Rangers. So I should say that. They got to beat the Rangers as well.
Yeah.
But this is a team that is playing well enough without Jake Sanderson and sometimes James Reimer in goal, and they're still winning hockey games.
Interesting stat that Ethan's just dropped here.
The plus 29 shots on goal difference tonight is tied for the largest in Battle of Ontario history. Ottawa outshot Toronto 41-12 in 1998. Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a dominant performance by, like, we were there tonight, and there was never a point, even at 3-2, that I thought Ottawa. There's a really kind of good-natured Leaf fan standing up beside us, and when the Leafs scored 3-1, I was kind of razzing a little bit. Like, that's all they're getting. And then they got 3-2. I'm like, I promise you, they've doubled what everyone thought they're getting. It's all over.
He was a good sport.
He was a very good sport.
I think as soon as you mentioned the Cowboys, he's like, oh, okay, I know how you feel. You know, you can resonate with us.
Yeah, exactly. We were commiserating in our, he's like, you know exactly what it's like as a Leaf fan, being a Cowboys fan. And
bunch of beauties up in the 300s. That's where the real people are at.
Totally agree.
So much fun.
I used to, and I was telling you tonight, that every year in the playoffs, game one of the playoffs, because Ottawa had a consecutive playoff, like year after year after year, they were in. And so, not that I took it for granted. I'm telling you so because I'm trying to say that I didn't take it for granted, that I would walk up basically where we were, game one of the playoffs in the first period, just to get like a feeling of what they're feeling.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that, like, yeah, we bonded with guys that came in for like a guy's trip, and they do that every year. But there were families up there. There were diehard Sens fans. There were some, groups of Leaf fans up there too.
Yep.
They didn't have that much to cheer about, but they weren't super annoying tonight, which was great. They didn't have a lot to cheer for.
Yeah, I mean,
really,
go ask a Sens fan who was at the Sens Montreal game a couple of weeks ago when they were olaying on their way out the door.
Yep. And there was a slight attempt at a wave tonight from Leaf fans at 3-2.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the Leafs fans or the Sens fans. I've seen Sens fans also do that a couple times this year before the Montreal game a couple of weeks ago. I remember at the Sharks game, actually, that was at a couple of weeks ago, and the wave started when it was tied, and I was just like, oh my God. You don't do a wave when you're not winning.
No, exactly. Julian says, well, we've seen many times this season where Ottawa plays to their identity, yet come out with either 0 points or just the one because they can't buy a save. I would say not lately. Like, that hasn't happened in the last, I don't know, 2 months.
Probably since the Olympic break, I would say, yeah. Maybe you could stretch it maybe to Allmark's return / the Reimer signing. But yes, that did happen a lot in the early season, and there are a lot of games where they should have taken it to overtime. Yeah. I remember there was a couple in a row. I think it was a Nashville and Detroit game that we covered where it was just a brutal collapse.
Well, the Nashville game, they're up 3-0 with like a minute to go in the second period, and they lost 5-3 in regulation. Yeah. That one really, like, that would never happen right now.
Agreed.
Like Ottawa wouldn't have a 3-0 lead late in the second period and lose 5-3 in regulation.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like you're bringing this stat up, but it's before Ottawa was playing this shutdown defensive system that I'm
Agreed.
sure in part was because they're like, oh my God, we can't allow shots on goal because they're all going in.
Yeah. Ottawa's got 11 players with 10 plus goals, tied for second in the league, 15 players with 20 plus points, which is first in the league. I was not worried after the Washington game. Some nights just happen. Those are good stats, but that just means that they don't have somebody that is like only 2 guys on the team have more than 51 points in 69 games.
Yeah.
That's not a ton, right? Like only Stützle and Baltherson have more.
Yeah, Stützle's had a great year. He's going to come close to a career high. I don't think he's going to crack 90 like he did that one year, but it's pretty good.
I still think he's got a chance. I know 8 goals in 13 games is a lot, but I still feel like we're going to have a night where Tim's going to get 2 or 3 in one night and suddenly get a lot closer. He's been the best player on the ice almost every time he stepped out there.
I think it was close between him or Sanderson for the MVP, but I think Sanderson missing this time and Stützle keep going. I think this has set him apart as probably the Senators MVP this season.
So we were talking tonight about Rick Bowness.
Yes.
Is there a thought that Travis Green's name would be in if Ottawa makes the playoffs? Because I'm going to go, and I don't know exactly right now. Do they still have the worst save percentage in the league? Ottawa? I will find that out momentarily.
I believe so. They would have had to have been pretty miraculous to climb out of the hole that they were in. Yeah, 32nd in the league with an 877. That's better than it was.
I know. They were 869, I think, at one point.
Yes.
But 877. The Ottawa Senators have the worst save percentage in the entire National Hockey League. And they have a goal differential right now at plus 21, I want to say. Yeah, plus 21. And
you're getting at Travis Green, right?
They are 36-24-9. Yeah, the Travis Green deserves, like he said, the worst goaltending in the entire league. Not any team has had worse goaltending, save percentage wise. And he has this team 3 points away from a playoff spot, plus 21 in goal differential. I don't know. I think he probably deserves some credit for Coach of the Year.
I would agree.
If they get it.
I would completely agree. I'm sure he's going to make some people's ballots, but I just think he gets more attention in this market than others, like on the larger stage. Like I don't think he's going to get more votes than John Cooper in Tampa, Dan Muse in Pittsburgh, Bowness in Columbus, and there's definitely a few others probably in the West. I think Jared Bednar out in Colorado will probably get some for how they came out the gate. Minnesota, maybe. There's still a few other teams there that I think as a whole, National Hockey League are probably going to get more attention, but I do think Green should get consideration. One other thing I want to mention just on the standings and the fight here is if the Senators end up in a tie situation, I think they're in pretty good shape when it comes to tiebreakers, just based on they've got more regulation wins than the Islanders, the Red Wings, the Bruins, the Blue Jackets, the Penguins. They've got, third most in the Eastern Conference behind the Hurricanes, Lightning, and Sabres.
Yeah, so they're fourth in the Eastern Conference in regulation wins.
That's going to help down the stretch if they end up in some sort of tiebreaker situation.
Washington has just as many as Ottawa.
Yeah.
They're a little further back here. But, yeah, I agree that they're putting themselves in a nice spot here with the way that they're playing now and building up some of that. And you hope that it doesn't come down to something like that. But
right. It's nice to have.
Especially the Islanders have 25. Like the Islanders are never getting more than Ottawa.
Nope.
Like 5 more regulation wins by the end of the year. That's not happening because you wouldn't be in a tie situation at that point if the Islanders were able to get that. So
even Detroit might be hard for them to get 3 more and Ottawa not to get more.
3 more than Ottawa, and especially if Ottawa beats them on Tuesday night. That would be
Columbus too, 26.
Yeah, the Kings have gone to overtime. You look at some of the overtime.
Montreal 26.
I'm just looking. So Boston's been to overtime 18 times this year. The overtime records are just crazy. Like how many times teams go to overtime and shootouts and different things. So, all right. So Saturday night, they beat the Leafs. I think that this was kind of like they're going to beat them. And they did. And it wasn't that big of a deal. They put themselves in a good spot. And it's great to be discussing the fact that, okay, they're only 3 points back. We'll be watching that Islanders Columbus game tomorrow. And I think everyone will be cheering for the Columbus Blue Jackets. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
To keep the Islanders where they are.
I'd like to see Columbus in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
I think this will be a really fun playoff. There's a lot of different teams, new blood in here. Like Tampa, Carolina are your only real big returners that have done a lot of damage. Like, yeah, Montreal and Ottawa made it last year, but they were out in the first round. Buffalo hasn't been in. Pittsburgh hasn't been in.
No.
Red Wings, Bruins weren't in last year.
No, but Columbus and Buffalo are not just in.
They look like threats.
They've been the best two teams since the beginning of the new year. Like since January 1st. Columbus been the best team in the NHL in the last 2 months. Period.
And you got to think, like, no Panthers this year.
Yeah.
The East has run through them for the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another underrated thing is no Tom Wilson as well. So I'm interested to see what some of those teams are going to look like and who those players are this year. And you could look at someone like a Brady Tkachuk if he's able to turn it on like he did against the Islanders as a big playoff guy.
Oh, my God, for sure.
Because people forget he was more than a point per game in the Toronto series last year.
And I think there would be a lot of in the room that they got a taste of it and they want more. If they got in, there'd be a lot of that.
A lot more experience on this team than last year as well.
Yeah. I still worry about the goaltending, but
yeah,
that's going to be, I don't think that's going to go away. I don't think there's going to be a point that people don't worry about the goaltending from here to the end of the season.
I think even going into next, barring like a really big move, I think there's going to be some worry that what if Allmark starts off a little bit slow and what if they don't bring somebody else in?
There's a lot right now, and I'm not trying to put too much pressure, but the Sens have played so well. In the next 4 weeks, there is a lot of pressure on Linus Allmark. Because if he doesn't play well, they don't, like James Reimer is not coming in to the Senators are going to make the playoffs because Allmark played bad and Reimer came in.
You would think Reimer's playing maybe 2 more games, probably.
Yes, because it would take Allmark multiple bad performances to like get out of the net to give Reimer that chance, and they'd be too far back at that point to get back in anyway. So
yeah,
I'm just telling you, it's Linus Allmark or nothing.
Yep.
And that's, I think, a bit scary for Sens fans to hear, but at the same time, he's won a lot of games lately. So
yeah, even if they haven't been pretty.
So Monday night, again, prepare yourselves. It's a technically 7:30, but really it's 7:45 start. I'm just gonna say it's 7 o'clock pregame.
7 o'clock. All right, you want to do like 6:45, 6:50?
But if the puck's not dropping until 7:45.
True. Well, that's what the local radio said. You never know.
Good point by you.
We'll figure it out.
It'll be around.
Turn those notification bells on. Then you'll
exactly
hit that like button
between 6:45 and 7 on Monday night, and that's fun. You get a day off tomorrow for everyone to rest, and for the Sens, I mean, this is games, 4 and 6 and 5 and 7 on Monday and Tuesday. Like that's a lot of hockey.
Yep. Get out to New York tonight or tomorrow and get some rest in. Have a nice New York slice of pizza.
Yeah, they're not going for pizza.
No,
they're going for a really nice steak. I was going to say, do you get a lot of guys resting in Manhattan? Maybe on a Sunday night, there's not as much going on. Plus, I think this team right now is pretty disciplined to what they need to do. I don't think there's a lot of temptation in Manhattan on a Sunday night, like there could be for other teams on a Saturday night in Manhattan. But
yeah.
Okay, well, that's when we'll talk to people next. We appreciate people have been with us here for a long time, but it was fun. We had a chance. We met a new, as you said, a bunch of beauties.
Some fucking beauties
up there. They were some fucking beauties. I like that term. The Brian and Blake and all the guys from Vancouver and
one Leafs fan.
Sacramento and the Leafs fan. We didn't get his name, but we're bantering with him back and forth all night. And
the one guy who came by the pregame too, and just pulled up
Yeah,
next to
he
me,
just-
had a beer in his hand. And
all of a sudden, I'm like, who the hell's Tanner talking to?
this guy, yeah, he's telling me, oh, I got $5 on Stützle to score tonight, and I put $10 on the Sens to win, and
Well,
I
he
also put $5 on the Leafs.
Oh, yeah. Just to
hedging his bets.
To hedge my bets, I got the Leafs to win by a goal and a half just in case. But he got Stützle and he got the Sens, so he should be okay.
Yeah.
Like both of those things happened.
He's having a good time. All right.
And then he moved on and then he was gone
Yeah, he was
after that.
2 minutes.
But I think the overall feeling, folks, is that maybe it came across this way on TV. I don't know. But the fear is, and even, I don't want to call it a fear for me, but like I went to the hockey game thinking that the Leaf fans still were going to override because they hadn't been here yet and they're obnoxious. And Ottawa fans did a really nice job at kind of taking the rink back a little bit. And there's been some articles, as you said, Julian McKenzie, Callum Fraser, both had articles on the rink being taken over by Montreal and Toronto fans this week. I don't think Sens fans let them take it over tonight.
I don't think so. And I think the team did a decent job, especially in the last week and a half, of pushing it out. I know I got a message as a season ticket holder that they were releasing more tickets for the Toronto game at a discounted rate to members, and they could not be transferred. And same thing, Kevin Lee, who's a big face on Sens Twitter, was given a bunch of seats to help distribute, and he did the same in the playoffs last year. So he's a good guy. Getting those into hands of Sens fans. And I still saw a lot of people just reselling their tickets today because they couldn't make the game or whatever. And they were saying, hey, you got to be a Sens fan or I'm not selling it to you.
Right.
So good on that.
So Sens win 5-2. The Boston Bruins beat the Detroit Red Wings tonight, and the Montreal Canadiens put a 7 spot up on the New York Islanders and beat them. Both games end in regulation, which does help the Ottawa Senators. I think that was a fear. None of that happened tonight. Games going to overtime, 3-point games. So that's good. And Ottawa finds themselves 3 back of a playoff spot going into Monday against the New York Rangers. Pretty good time tonight, Tanner. You got here for the pregame. We went to the game, postgame. Your boots on the ground for sure, not only at the game, but here in studio.
Especially for not knowing we were doing this about 12 hours ago.
Yeah, things come fast. Like sometimes you get messages from PR guys that saying you want tickets and then not giving you the right tickets. And then, we made the best of it. We wouldn't have met those beauties, right?
Yeah, we had fun musing up there with them.
Exactly. Certainly can't complain. And then coming back here to get back for you, listening. And we appreciate everybody being with us. Once again, the final score, Ottawa 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs 2, back in action Monday night against the New York Rangers. And we very much appreciate you being with us on This Is Overtime.